Harry Peeps, Tuppence Tuesday. I thought we'd do something simple today. Yeah, we're not going to do a big in-depth piece and carry this on. I thought, a little bit of an intermission. It's week 5. Let's kind of consolidate a little bit, understand where we're up to, where we're at. Aye? So we've kind of gone through this process, haven't we, where we've looked at kind of the concept of what a data culture is and how it's been really pushed by hardware capabilities and that's really triggered that enterprise-wide mindset shift, right? People are thinking differently about data, yeah? And it's not just about that hardware's done it, it's, I can look at my Facebook posts, I can look at my Instagram posts, I can see what's going on, I crave those interactions, those little addictions that we all get from it, are all driving that idea of a data culture. We've covered that it's people focused, that you have to get everyone in your organisation working together to really drive true innovations and that next step of growth and development for your company. And then last week we looked a little bit at process. And what I wanted to do this week was kind of trying to pull the two together. So how do the two kind of come together and what does that mean? I don't understand. So what I've got on the right hand side here is a process map. So we've got a process that is happening in our business and we want to make it better. So how can we make a process better? What's the value add? And if we zoom in, we can see kind of what's happening here. So this is an example of a process mind process. Process by process. So we've taken an incident management process from a business and we've looked at actually what's happening within it. And the key areas that we talk about in process mining are where you have loops in particular. So in this case, we've got that tickets are being resolved and then reopened, or something's having to be reworked and they're going back to be resolved, and that's taking 3 days. So there's an inefficiency there. We've got here where we're waiting on a loop for information from people, or waiting user information, and that seems to be looping. So something's going on there. So these would be our areas that we would definitely want to tackle and target initially as what are we doing? What's going on with it? And the way process mining tools work is the weight of the line tends to show you or shows you the weight of it, or how many of your items running through the process are going through this loop or through this line. So it's a very useful way of actually starting to analyse a process. And that's one of the things we pushed, and we mentioned it last week, that process mining can really bring some next level information to you. So what does that actually look like? Yeah? This is where you want to start talking about your business evolution, isn't it? Because that's the whole point. And I'm going to say evolution because I struggle with trying to get people to understand the concepts of continual improvement. The concept continual improvement implies that everything is an improvement. It's not. Like evolution, some steps are just, that's never going to work for you, matey. And that happens. And you have evolutionary dead ends, but the species will continue. You have evolutionary freaks, I guess you might call it, that becomes the norm over time. And that's nature, isn't it? That's the whole basis of evolution and the theory of evolution. Very much this is the same. So what you want to be doing is taking our system generated process. Yeah? So we want to be able to see that process map. We then want to be able to analyze that data and then look and align it to the business priorities. And then you'll need to use some kind of a process, like an evaluation process, a modeling process, a growth process. So a standard one I see is this plan, do, check, act. And it's pretty common. It's in Agile, it's in ITIL, it's in a few others as well. It might be subtly renamed, but it's a 4-step process to go through and do it. I'm not going to get into this and say, you need to do this, you need to do that. What I will say is, you need to find one that works for you as a business and stick to it for everything. Okay? It needs to be lightweight. It needs to be supportive of innovation. It needs to allow you to quickly say, this is working, this isn't working, we're going to keep doing this, we're going to roll this back. You need to get that mindset, that methodology, and that focus into your improvement, evolution, whatever you're going to call it, process. And it's that combination, isn't it? It's that combination of people. So people have got, I know this is an issue, and data. Well, data is showing this is an issue. The two need to align, and that's then where this preparedness comes in. So I want to talk about a little example here, yeah, the moral of the day. Now, we've talked in the past, haven't we, that your core metrics can drive bad behaviours. And this really is a great example, I think, of what gets measured is what gets done. Okay? So, the process that we showed earlier, right, the two top agents, Agent 1 and Agent 2, we did give them names, right, but I'm not going to find them because it doesn't really matter, right? But Agent 1 has an 88% SLA or performance. Yeah, you know, they're brilliant. Agent 1's great, right? And we might say, all our staff, you should be more like Agent 1 if it was just looking at that. Agent 2, right, the second person doing the second most, and by comparison to everyone else, they were like head and shoulders above. It only has 63% performance. And the question would be, well, what do we do? Now, if I was using traditional metrics and KPIs alone and traditional wisdom, I would say, well, Agent 1's the great one. You know, everyone needs to be more like Agent 1. When I overlay process mining onto that, and this is one of the moments of process mining, I get a very different picture. It looks like Agent 1 is just kind of, you know, log in and flog in and quickly pushing tickets through. Yeah, they're kind of doing quick fix stuff. Is that necessarily meeting the requirements of my business? When I look at it in comparison to Agent 2, who seems to be, there is a loop where they're going back to the customer and awaiting information. You know, there are all sorts of other information or other things happening. And then their tickets are taking longer. So there's something else happening here with Agent 2 than our raw figures would indicate. And this is very much something that you need to start going through, investigating, and working to really understand what is happening within your process, what is happening within your business. What are the areas we want to encourage, and what are the areas we want to discourage? Because the two need to be managed, understood, and worked towards. Yeah? So what do you reckon then? What you need to understand with this and with the way process mining works is that it gives you a very clear set of indicators as to what's happening. The fact that it is system generated and the fact that it ties, and a good process mining tool will tie into your analytics engine, means that you can quickly and easily assess what's happening. So as we showed, we could be looking at their raw performance numbers, and that could be, you know, that doesn't need to be against a ticketing system. That could be my sales staff, their quotas against their quotas. That could be stores against volume. But I can then look into that at that next level down using process mining to see actually how they're adhering to the process. We could further combine that. So we could look and see for store A, which isn't performing too well, how are the products performing, and actually see what's going on with each product level, and then see the process map against that. If you think for a large sales organization, if you can do that and assess how are our audits coming through, how are they being focused, how are they being delivered, that makes a big difference. Do we have a product line that's causing us an issue? In which case it might be that you've got a sales team who seem to be underperforming, but it's actually due to something else further downstream rather than anything that team are doing. And when you look into it, you see the issues in manufacturing or in dispatch. You could also compare your customers, actually how are different customers doing. So if you're starting to talk and say in terms of we want to do some level of credit referencing of our, what's the likelihood of payment on time, process mining can actually do an awful lot of that for you. So as a tool that's kind of just, well, there it is, use it, right? It's something just like mind-blowing when you actually start looking at what it can do and what it can bring to the table for you and for your business. So I would definitely recommend that you spend some time and effort getting comfortable with process mining and understanding how it would fit into your landscape. So as I say, don't forget, like and subscribe down below. Head on over to Geordie Intelligence, become a subscriber, enroll on some of our courses. We've got some more coming up. I think they're all great, really. I'm bound to say that though, and most importantly, stay safe, take care, ta-da.